Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered and Functional. I'm your host, Mandy, here with the bestest co-hostess ever, Sashi Baby.
Hello.
Today, guys, we're going to be talking about a pretty hot button topic. Whether you are in your teens, your 40s, your 30s, 20s, whatever, even if you're menopausal, we got to talk about something that affects all of us, whether or not you want to have children, and that is preconception health. Very important for women of all journeys and chapters of life. And yes, I did say menopausal because even though in menopause, you're not going to be necessarily preparing to have a baby, what you do before that menopause and what you do transitioning into that also has a huge impact on your health overall. Beforehand, sorry guys, this is not medical advice. This is a conversation between two educated coaching professionals, and we are just wanting to kind of spread a little bit of education, not medical advice. If you are interested in preconception health, please consult your healthcare provider or coach. The reason that preconception health is not just a mom thing or I'm going to have a baby thing. Doesn't matter if you want kids, if you're not sure if you want kids, if you might want them, or you don't really know. I want you guys to reframe preconception health as optimizing your hormones, optimizing metabolism, getting your nervous system in order, your nutrient status, how your body detoxes, your mitochondrial health, powerhouse of the cell.
Powerhouse.
All of this is important, whether you want kids or not. Sasha, what have you been told about preconception health, if anything, by any healthcare provider?
I mean, by any healthcare provider, nothing, because I've never come with that question. I mean, there are like obvious things that you hear of like be healthy and like, well, if you are planning to be pregnant, be healthy, be as healthy as possible while you're pregnant. And then there's the ifs and ands of whether you should work out or give in to cravings or like beforehand, like how to kind of take care of yourself. But any and all research and understanding that I have about preconception health is stuff that I've researched on my own because I am someone who wants to have little babies in the future. And pretty much everything that you said of it's optimizing your hormones, it's optimizing your health, it's optimizing your body. And yes, this is important for preconception health, but it's also just important. If you're planning on carrying a baby, like really get in there, like making sure that everything is good. And I've also seen like this thing on the internet that you should be taking prenatals like before you even decide, like when you're trying. And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't done research on that because we're not at that point to be trying. But mother-in-law, if you're hearing this, I'm sorry. I know you want babies, not yet. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm really excited about what you're gonna dive into because I have my own knowledge from my own research, but you are the brain of this topic. Like your brain holds the information for this topic. Anyways, you get
I get it. I
it.
get it. No, thank you. Yeah. Isn't it just wild though that women are just not told anything? Like it drives me crazy.
No,
And
pretty much nothing.
yeah, I know. And we've talked about it before. I've chosen not to have kids, but I still feel super passionate about this. And I'm like, preconception health really, if you think about it, starts in childhood. It starts before puberty. The way that we are raised and like our health when we're younger, before puberty, and then as women, when our cycles start, it all affects like later. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. We'll just jump right in now. Okay. So, kind of like how you mentioned, I think the majority of people think of preconception health as like take a prenatal, stop your birth control, eat salads so you're healthier, and like whole foods. And like, I guess on the surface, that could be a little bit applicable there, a little bit misleading, especially with the prenatals. I don't feel strongly one way or the other about them, but I am always going to advocate for getting some standard blood work done to see if you do have any deficiencies. Because if you're taking prenatals in anticipation for like your folate status, why not find out what your folate status is first? Why not find out if you have the MTHR gene and you need like a methylated form of folate before you just start pop in prenatals that aren't going to get absorbed. I
Yeah.
digress though.
Yeah, or like the gummies, like I love seeing like, oh, prenatal gummies. It's like, plus correct me if I'm wrong, but before, and as you said, before you even take that, find out where you're deficient because you might not need that. Like maybe all you need is just a freaking iron supplement or like zinc or like your
Mhm.
body is lacking a little bit of that, but like you don't necessarily need
Yeah.
everything that it says, especially if you are a healthy person and you do eat whole foods, you have the red meats, you have this, you have that, like you consume these foods and like your body has all that it needs, like you might not need to add more stuff in it. It just has to go then through the process of detoxing that.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. That's why I'm like, I think it's, yeah,
I don't know what that was, but
that was so the doctors that say just take a prenatal because that, I mean, that's the other part of it though, is I think as far as preconception health, yeah, maybe doctors are like, hey, take a prenatal, but unless you're doing deep research on it, not all of them have well absorbable vitamins. So you're really just throwing your money away. So again, that's why I'm like, get your labs done, see if you even need one, or see if you can just adjust your diet to kind of like compensate.
I love that you just said that because I was gonna say like they'll tell you to take a prenatal, but they won't tell you to stop eating McDonald's.
You don't need that double cheeseburger, girl. You don't need it.
Not even real meat. I digress.
Okay, yeah. All right. Getting back on track. Okay.
Yes.
What it's not, prenatals, stopping your birth control, eating salads and not McDonald's. What it really is all about, like we said, is optimizing hormones and your overall health processes. Because at the end of the day, whether you want kids or not, fertility is a vital sign of your overall health. If your body is able to conceive, again, whether you want kids or not, that is a sign of a very healthy body, a very healthy metabolic profile, internal health. It's great. Why it matters to even consider preconception health is because we need to understand that our cells, our egg cells, and then sperm cells on our male counterparts, they're not just boom there. They're just not existing on demand. It's not Netflix. You can't just be like, boom, I need a little healthy egg to come out right now. Doesn't work that way. You're making eggs like ahead of like first of all, women are born with all the eggs we're ever gonna have. But then to get these egg cells mature, it takes time. It takes like months, it takes 3 to 4 months. So what you're doing like 3 to 4 months, 6 months, 12 months before you plan to have kids, it matters for the quality of your egg cells. Same thing with our male counterparts. Sperm is just not, Hulu on demand. That sperm's like development cycle is about 74 to 90 days. So what they're doing 3 months, 6 months, 12 months beforehand with their health, that is going to dictate the quality of the sperm cells. And we want good cell quality on both ends.
Yes.
Um, in a nutshell, what you do today is going to affect your fertility hormones, etc., tomorrow and the long term tomorrow. So I bring up men because I think that's part of the equation that gets kind of ignored a little bit, and it's all put on women. Surprise, surprise. And mainstream medicine, like mostly will focus on the woman as far as like fertility and conception. But how much do you think men's health actually impacts fertility success and the health of the child?
A lot. I think that it's at least 50%, if not more. And I say that because I was in the past, like before I did any research or anything, I was like, yeah, it is very important for the mom to be super healthy and like the way that she carries and like, working out and doing this and doing that. Like this was like years ago when I was just like, just dipping my toes in it. And then the more that I was looking at it, I was like, all right, and if the mom does all of this and then dad comes in, unhealthy, doesn't take care of himself, not healthy, just overall, and puts unhealthy into healthy, like that, the movement, sorry, puts unhealthy into healthy, that is not going to automatically like cancel out his unhealthy. Like that is, it's not like one and one automatically will equal to like good. It's if this is good and this is bad, you'll get somewhere in the middle, if not more bad. Because we have to remember, like, their sperm is also what dictates if it's a boy or a girl. Like it's their genetics too. It's their stuff. Like so there's I think it's a lot more than women know.
Mhm.
And that goes to say, ladies, please, please do a good job picking your life partner because if they don't care about themselves, they don't take care of themselves, or if they don't make the changes to do so, that is not only going to affect you, but that will literally affect your children. So do what you want with that.
That's a good point because that's something that I also like looked at is if I'm meeting a man or this for any person, whatever your orientation is. If I'm meeting a partner and they don't take care of themselves, like not that I'm looking for someone to take care of me, but like how are they going to take care of me or our relationship? How are they going to take care of like us building a life together if they won't even like give themselves the respect and love to take care of themselves? I like when my fiance, almost a boyfriend, whatever, my
Not
boyfriend.
anymore.
When we first started dating, like that was a very real conversation I had with him. And like, kudos that he didn't like run away scared or anything. But I was like, hey, if we are going to have this long-term committed relationship, if we are going to take this step with each other, it's very important to me that your internal health is good. Even again, understanding that we don't want to have kids, but anytime that you're intimate with your partner, that is an exchange of DNA. I don't want like like you said with your little hand gestures, I don't want unhealthy coming into healthy and messing with it. We could do a whole separate episode on like kind of like female stealth infections like BV and stuff and how like men can influence that, but I don't want to like get off that tangent. But just to kind of like reaffirm what you're saying, yeah, your partner's health freaking matters.
A lot.
Huge. And I think something women do not realize is the health of a man's sperm affects fertilization, how that it gets fertilized. It affects the quality of the embryo. Because again, like you said, if like that man's not super healthy, we're not going to have the healthiest embryo. It affects miscarriage risk, which I think a lot of women take that on like themselves.
Themselves, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not always the case. Like you have to consider the sperm quality as well. And it can affect a child's metabolic health. So, what that essentially means is we're seeing kids that maybe the parents aren't the healthiest and they are high risk for like childhood diabetes, like type 2 diabetes,
Yeah,
which is insane. It's
insane.
crazy.
I
Now,
have a question.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, it's
And I don't know, maybe this is something that you'll lead to, but I've seen on the internet there's like this couple that I follow, they're like famous and whatever. And they have had like miscarriage after miscarriage. And the mom, like from what I've seen, lives a pretty freaking healthy life, like should not be having that, right?
mm,
And because of all of that, she went and started doing like IVF and like all of these treatments and like still having a very hard time. And now with all of that, I haven't heard of anything for like what the male could do in order to make their sperm better, essentially, to help support that. Because I feel like women, like you said, will immediately take like the miscarriage and like all of these
mm,
things onto them when it's not always because of their body, but like you said, it could just be like bad sperm, essentially. My question is there any kind of injections, procedures, like things that men could do in order to have healthier, or is it just for lifestyle changes that they need to make in order
mm.
to be healthier?
That is a really good question. I would recommend people starting with lifestyle. I think I know who you're talking about and the consideration there. And this is, guys, this is observation. I don't know their health history. I don't know anything about them, but from observation, there's also a component that comes in for the men's health there. If it is a person I think you're talking about, did bodybuilding use PEDs, that is also going to affect sperm development. And
Mm,
in some cases for male bodybuilders, like if they are heavily using PEDs and it's not being correctly monitored by healthcare providers, you risk sterility, or you could even have temporary sterility before getting that back. So, again, I don't know anything about them, but if it's the couple I think you're talking about, that could be an angle that they explore. But again, I don't know anything about their health. But for the average Joe, start with your lifestyle. there are you fertility doctors should, and I think most of them do, test sperm as well. I don't know if you have to request it, but that would absolutely be a great starting point. And then from there,
Yeah.
diet, get your nutrients in, get your movement in. If you have insulin resistance, get that reversed. That would be like my
Yeah.
number one recommendation for sure.
And I don't want to completely derail from what you have planned to for this topic, but what you mentioned about like the PEDs, if hypothetically speaking, a male was like taking them, whatever bodybuilder, competitor, like in that sorts, and then comes off of them, and then testosterone is very low or whatever, has to do TRT, could that improve it? Like, could doing testosterone replacement therapy help improve it, or does that just improve the testosterone but not the actual health of the sperm? Like, just because one is improved, does it automatically mean that the other one also improves, or could it just be no,
No,
right?
it's like it's nuanced too because there are actually that is part of it is if somebody is on TRT, like a lot of these bodybuilders are on TRT, if the dose is really high, we can actually see sperm count come down, which is why
Mm,
sometimes they have to, especially if they're taking other components, get on like a, I don't know if what it's called, like not a reverse, but almost like a off cycle
yeah.
therapy. And they have to take, some of them will take Clomid, which is actually like a fertility drug for women, just to try and balance that out again.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. This was just
So,
like hypotheticals because again, I don't know the couple,
mhm,
I don't know their situation, I don't know anything. But like as you started talking about that, I was like,
mhm,
what about with like TRT? Like how could
yeah.
that
It
improve or
could
not?
help if it's in like a therapeutic range. And like if a man does have low T, it doesn't mean that he can't get a woman pregnant. Absolutely can. But if that is somewhere where like the couple is falling short, I would absolutely get that tested. They should be testing sperm count, quality. They should be testing testosterone levels. A therapeutic testosterone dose is not going to impair that sterility like the way like a higher
Mm,
dose for bodybuilders might, if that makes sense.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry,
Yeah.
peoples, went off on a little derail there.
No, that's okay. We could absolutely do another episode about that. I absolutely love it. I love talking about
I
it.
love
But
that.
why sperm health matters, like I mentioned, it is like poor sperm quality is also linked to higher miscarriage risk. It is also linked to kind of like how we derailed a little bit there, lower IVF success rates,
Mm,
something to consider. And then also, kind of how I alluded to, also higher metabolic disease risk, like childhood diabetes. So if we have a fatherhood obesity, no, like if we have a male who is obese, their sperm is associated like with altered DNA methylation. So their detoxability is impaired. What does that mean? Well, that's when we typically get kids that are going to be predisposed to be a little bit heavier, a little bit more overweight, have that insulin resistance risk as they grow up,
mm,
and then start the cycle over. Because, like I said, preconception health technically starts with your childhood health. Really important lifestyle things to address with men, nutrients. So, making sure they have enough zinc, selenium, folate. Folate is not just for women preconception, omega 3s, and vitamin D. I see a lot of men lately coming back with low vitamin D. Come on, guys. Vitamin D is not just a lady supplement.
no.
Definitely get on nutrients, which means whole food diet. Don't just take a supplement, slap a band-aid on it, make sure your diet's on point, make sure you're moving around. And I think it's kind of funny how you mentioned off camera, guys, off camera, Sasha mentioned how her fiance was like, "Ooh, like I need to be healthy too." Have you guys like had in-depth conversations, or have you, what do you wish he understood more about this, or have you educated him on it?
I mean, I think he understands pretty well between the pressure from me for him to be healthy. Again, not because we're planning right now or in a year or like 2 years, like this is like later on, but as you said, this is something that needs to be like months, even years in advance to ensure that they are as healthy. But at the same time, like I just want him to be healthy and live forever.
Mhm.
Just in general for him and like for any other men, like just to understand that yes, it's the woman that carries and brings the child to term, but there's so much that goes into the role of the man when it comes to the health of the sperm. And I feel like, and I might be totally wrong, but I feel like the health of the male could also impact the pregnancy of the actual term of the pregnancy of the woman, because if the sperm is unhealthy and like let's say the woman is might be having like a harder pregnancy, or like maybe there's more things that she needs to do like the IVF or more checkups or whatever the case may be, and like not to mention like just both being healthy partners, it's like you feel more supported, like you feel like you're on the same page. And I don't want this to get taken the wrong way that like we're perfect. Like we order freaking 4 donuts every like 2 weeks to have our little cheat meal snack thing together, and like we can pig out and eat some wings. Like we can have our moments like that too, but that is like a once in a occasion kind of thing. And on the day-to-day basis, it's like living a healthy life. So I just wish that more men understood that their role matters a lot more than they think. And if they want healthy babies, both like physically healthy, their internal health is healthy, everything, and to support their wife, their spouse better during the pregnancy, take care of yourself too.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Hun.
Men who do that are A plus.
A plus. Stand up kings. Okay. No, I totally agree.
And
I
even,
want,
and I'm sorry, even if you don't want to have kids, still take care of yourself. Because like
period.
literally, as you said, DNA exchange and just like you are a better person when you take care of yourself. Anyways, I
Yeah.
digress. Continue.
No, period. You're right. Just take care of yourself. If you guys take anything away from this episode, just take care of yourself.
Yeah,
It doesn't
pretty
matter what
much.
you want, just take care of yourself.
No.
I'm going to kind of breeze through this, but if anyone wants more information, please let me know in the comments and we can absolutely expound on this in a new episode. But as far as like the female side of things, really what you want to focus on for your preconception health is good blood sugar regulation, stress. Come on, ladies. I know we're all guilty of that one. Stress and cortisol balance, progesterone sufficiency. Progesterone is needed to maintain a pregnancy. So that is part of where some miscarriage issues may come into play is if you are very low in progesterone and you know you're trying for a baby. Some OBGYNs, some fertility specialists will preemptively prescribe progesterone to these women that have a low level just to make sure if she does get pregnant, that pregnancy has the support it needs to be maintained. So if you don't know your progesterone status, go get your blood work done in your luteal phase 2 to 3 days after you ovulate. If you don't know when that is, girl, what are you doing? Start tracking your period. Come on. Other issues to focus on for women: how is your gut health? And are you inflamed? These are big ones. And if you're preparing, you know you want to have a baby, consider your nutrients. A lot of us, like I said, we're very stressed out. We work a lot. We're trying to be boss babes. We're trying to do all the roles. Stress is going to deplete your nutrients. So if you don't know where to start and it seems overwhelming, just start with making small changes to your diet and eating more whole foods. A lot of women will also come off of the birth control. Now, I want to disclaim here, it is not a lie. The second you stop taking birth control, yes, you can get pregnant. Is it ideal? Probably not. Does it mean anything is going to be wrong with your child? No, it doesn't mean that. But if you're planning to have a pregnancy, why not give the most ideal and optimized health that you can to your child, right? So if you're going to
Yeah.
come off birth control, the body is going to take at least like 3 months is usually the minimum I see, all the way up to 12 months, sometimes 18, just depending on the length of birth control use, because what birth control does is it suppresses our natural hormones. So 3 months minimum, it takes our body to kind of like get back up online with our hormones. So yes, you can get pregnant right away, but we're doing that with severely diminished hormones. Give your body a little bit of a chance and a little bit of a breather, because as beautiful as pregnancy is, it's also a stressor on the body. And if you're already stressed about the birth control, what it's doing to your body, pregnancy is going to add another development to there. And I think a lot of women would benefit from a little bit of like a breather before hopping into the pregnancy as well. But again, guys, Doesn't mean you're going to have an unhealthy baby. It's just we're talking about how can we optimize that part of the health. As we wrap up here, the last little key that I kind of want to leave you guys with is epigenetics. We can do a separate episode on this, which is
I would
basic.
love that.
We should just do that. And if you haven't heard of it, epigenetics is basically like you are not tied to like your genetics. So if you're somebody that has like grown up being like, I'm just big bone, that's my genetics, or something like that, stop lying to yourself. Because epigenetics tells us that your environment, the stress you go through, the trauma you experience, that will change your DNA gene expression. So, what that means is if you have a healthy, active lifestyle, we're probably going to be turning off some genes that would lead to disease processes like diabetes. If you're eating a lot of processed foods, you're going to turn on those genes that are going to make you gain weight faster or hold on to inflammation. So, through lifestyle, we have actually a lot more power than we're led to believe over our physical health. So, again, guys, this is why preconception health matters. It doesn't mean that you're going to, if you don't do any of this, it doesn't mean you're not going to have a healthy child. But again, we're looking at optimization. We want optimal health for ourselves. We want it for our families. We want it for like our male counterparts. Just take that into consideration. And Sash, as somebody who is eventually going to be starting a family down the road, do you feel like fertility is talked about in a way that scares women more than like actually empowers them?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think that a lot of it has to do with there being like it being so different person to person, like, how they carry. And like one woman has amazing side effect, like has no side effects with pregnancy. One woman has every side effect in the book. One woman has this. So there's just like so much information, but it's also I fear that it is talked about more as like the stressful, like scary time in your life. And like, yeah, it could be scary because it's your first time doing it. And like, yeah, it could be stressful because it's your first time doing it and you are literally creating another human being and bringing it into this world. Like, this is kind of freaking crazy. But at the same time, I think that it is so incredibly important for it to be looked as empowering because you are creating another human being and bringing it into the world. Like, it is a very empowering, it is a very beautiful thing. And the more knowledge that you have around it, with what Mandy shared, with, some little tidbits of what I said, it helps you understand that like knowledge is power when it comes to this, and being able to use these tools in order to create a more successful pregnancy, a more, I don't want to say successful child, but like a healthier
Mhm.
child, a better experience, and just be optimal. Like if you know that there are things that you can do and you do them, like you're just moving yourself forward. Like it's only scary if you decide to skim over this information and just like, well, whatever happens, happens. It's like, well, it doesn't really work like that. If you choose to look at it as an empowering way, kudos to you. If you're scared of it, it's okay to be scared. There's research for a reason. There are people who help for a reason. I know that one of your clients, getting off of birth control and doing blood work and like getting her to a healthy place, like was shortly after able to get pregnant. And like, that's incredible. So there are people, there are professionals, there, whatever that you can go to, that you can find out about your internal health. And I just really want you to hear me when I say, even if you don't plan on being pregnant right now, or in a year, or in 2 years, or ever, your internal health is literally the driver of everything. Once that stuff starts to go down, everything else is going down with it. So
Mhm.
be empowered by that because you can make it better. So reach
Mhm.
out to Mandy, get some blood work done, and get onto it.
Thank you, Sash. Yeah. And just to kind of like piggyback off what you said too, for any women listening that, already have kids or maybe they didn't know these things before, none of this is shared in a way that's meant to scare you. Again, we're here to focus on empowerment and knowledge. And that's also why I brought up the epigenetics. Maybe if you didn't do things the healthiest way during your pregnancy and you have like a young child now or a teenager now, it's okay. They
Yeah.
also have the power to influence their genetic expression. So even if you make a change now to start eating healthier, start moving, or encouraging your kids to, they can still have optimized health because I sure as hell did not have a healthy childhood at all. And now I just I just did blood work yesterday. Most of my labs have come back already, which is pretty cool. And with the exception of one marker, they're like pristine,
Yeah, that's
pristine.
incredible.
And I had
That's
a
incredible.
very unhealthy childhood. I was like eating Burger King like 4 days a week. So there is hope, guys. If you take
Yes.
anything away from this, there's hope.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Stop. I love this podcast. This was such a good one, Mans. I would definitely love to do a part two specifically about the epigenetics and anything else that the people want to hear because these are such powerful things. And the last thing I just want to say is if you choose to be empowered by all of this information and like you decide to go down that route, like you are only helping yourself. You are only doing better for yourself. If you choose to look at this as being scared, judged, criticized, whatever, like you're only not helping yourself.
This was a great episode. And I think we should definitely touch on epigenetics in another one. And I would actually love to do like a pregnancy and birth one too, about things that
Ooh,
like are not told to women that they have the options for.
that
Because
would be interesting.
yeah, because guess what, guys? Giving birth, laying on your back, not the most optimal way to do it. Nope.
Yeah, I've seen it's like either like sitting or like stand like there's like
Yeah.
squatting or something.
And you know how it
So,
happened?
oh,
Some perverted English king wanted to watch babies being born, and that gave him a better view. And that like spread around and obviously came over here. And that's why women give birth on their backs laying down now. I know, right? Some stupid man's perversion. It blows my mind. Like I did a deep dive into this, even though I don't want kids. I was like, oh, I know exactly what I would do.
oh, share it with me. Let me start taking notes. I'm gonna watch when Age wakes up and I go downstairs. Babe, I'm not laying on my back when I'm giving birth. He's gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, no, we should definitely do an episode because like the more I learned about it, I was like, oh my God, birth is so cool. Why do we scare
Dude,
women or tell them they have to have it done like this way or a C-section? And like, don't get me wrong, C-section for emergencies, absolutely. Emergency medicine is great, but for a healthy person, you don't have to do it the way that they tell you you have to do it. But I digress. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you could be so kind, be a doll, give us a like on YouTube, rate us 5 stars on Spotify, and we will see you guys on the next one next Monday. Every Monday at midnight, it drops. See you guys later.